All right, so we have a few different videos we're going to do pretty close together. Spider-Man, Witcher Season 2, and Wheel of Time. We all just got done watching. We're going to go over our thoughts and what we think on them. This video is going to be the Spider-Man video, so let's get right into the new Spider-Man No Way Home. This this Spider-Man film is 100% for the fans, by the fans, without question. One of the best, if not the best, Spider-Man films. And it's not just a good Spider-Man or superhero or MCU movie. It's just a good movie all around. If you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend going and seeing it. Could be one of my favorite films of the year. I really enjoyed it a lot. If you know nothing about the Spider-Man cinematic history or the MCU, this film probably isn't for you. Sure, you might still be able to enjoy it as a standalone superhero movie, but that's not what it's meant to be. So if you're new Marvel only and haven't seen any of the old Spider-Man stuff or not familiar with any of the older films that predate the MCU, go watch those. They're all mostly good. There's not one that I'd say is really bad. There's probably a worst one, but even that one's not that bad. You won't be disappointed in those. So let's go through some pros and cons. I'm with most of these, I'm going to try and keep all of these ranking videos spoiler free. If you've seen it, you know what happens. There's no need for me to go over it. And if you haven't seen it, you don't need me to spoil it. So, pros: seeing all the previous villains was excellent. I'm not going to go into who shows up, why, what they're doing, who all's there, that kind of stuff. But, if you've seen the trailer, we have an idea what's coming. So that was all great. I really enjoyed that. Getting a chance to see them on screen again and seeing how they interacted with the new Spider-Man and new MCU was excellent, very entertaining. And in this movie, the Spidey becomes the man. It's a great show, oh, going over Peter growing in the movie, and by the end, you see him realizing what it takes to fill the shoes of those guys that have come before him with Tony and Cap and all those guys. So it's a really great journey, where he leaves the high school kid behind and really steps into those bigger shoes. So that's excellent. As far as neutral things that I'm not sure about, things that have, could be pro, could be con. We'll have to see what they do. Just the multiverse implications with other characters and properties that we've seen. Once again, I don't want to spoil much. If you know, you probably know who I'm talking about, but I was a little disappointed, but they could still do stuff, so we'll see. Going into cons, the premise was a bit thin. Okay, when I say that, I mean the reasoning and actions, or the reasoning the characters had to take some of their actions in the early parts of the film were a little thin. Um, they don't give a great reason for all of this stuff to be happening. It's there, but they didn't push it as far as I think they needed to go to justify these characters taking the measures and resorting to the things that they did. So it's kind of tough there. And based on how these characters have behaved in the past and their justifications and what they've done before, I think that was a little out of place. But where they end up was really good, so I guess I can kind of forgive it. But that would be the only con I can uh, I can really come up with. There wasn't really much that I disliked. I know there's a lot of people that could probably nitpick stuff here and there and really go into it, but all in all, there wasn't too many things that stood out to me as far as problematic stuff or weak points that really drug the film down. It took a little. It was a little weird getting where we were going, but once that train was in motion, uh it was fantastic all the way through. So this is an easy approval. There's an argument for goat status. There, I've heard people saying that this is their favorite Spider-Man film of all time, the best Spider-Man film of all time. I'm not sure if I'm ready to go that far. There's lots of required viewing to get the full experience out of this movie. And when I'm ranking franchise films, I assume that you've seen all the previous films entries. In this case, it'd be the MCU, but this film requires you to go outside of the MCU. They want you to go that one step further. For older people who've seen all that stuff when it came out, it's one thing, but for newer viewers or people that weren't into comic movies and superheroes that are just getting into it, it's a little extra for them to have to go out and watch all this other stuff in order to get that full experience. And especially when other movies like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse did a much better job of creating a standalone narrative that didn't require you to go out and see a bunch of other stuff. It was in kind of the same vein as far as a multiverse, different characters coming in and doing an ensemble thing, but it didn't require you to go out and watch a bunch of stuff. So I don't I to me, it's a tie, or it could be. I'd probably lean towards Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse as my favorite Spider-Man movie, but this one's definitely up there. So definitely give it a watch. Easy approval. There's nothing here that I think would disappoint anybody. But that's all we have on Spider-Man No Way Home. If you guys have a different opinion or agree or disagree or think we're idiots, just let us know down in the comments. Like the video, subscribe if you want to see us rank more stuff. We got a lot of stuff to rank. We're trying to get through it all. 2022 hopefully be a busy year. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one.